everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. And we are live again with another guest today. So if you don't know me, I'm Rafia, and my co-host over there is Greg. And today we are talking to someone who's been on our show previously, but since she has two businesses, we're talking to her about her other business today. So we have with us today Tiffany Bradshaw. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. And so today we've had her here before as a sommelier, and she talked about all of her wine situation, and that was really fun.
You're good? Okay.
She's hiding it back there. So that was a really fun one that we had done with you. So now your other business is a marketing business called Bradshaw and Company. So can you tell us how long you've had this business and what actually you particularly provide to customers?
Yes.
What do you do?
What do I do?
What do you do?
Hey everyone, I'm Tiffany Victoria Bradshaw. And like Rafia said, I came on here and I was talking about being a private sommelier and talking about that I have wine, like all things wine. I bring wine tasting experiences to you at your home, your workplace. I bring wine country to you, or I take you to wine country. So we can even do like really fun events considering, I mean, it's always great in California, pretty much year round. But you literally can come to wine country and I will go with you, or I can set it up and set up all your reservations pretty much anywhere in Northern or Southern California. Wine advice, food and wine pairings. I have about 10 different wine experiences that I also offer and bring to your house, your home, your luxury retirement community, luxury apartment complex, you name it, that's what I do. But today, I'm here and super excited because I'm commemorating 25 years. I know I don't look that old. 25 years of running my marketing agency, Bradshaw and Company, full time. And so it's super exciting. I came out of corporate America. My dad's an optometrist and he's self-employed, so I kind of got the self-employment bug from him, working in his offices since I was like 5 years old. And I went to a college prep for one of the first magnet schools in Detroit called Cass Technical High School, and I had to study 2 years I had to declare a major, and to study 2 years in my major just to graduate high school. And so, yeah, it was really cool. So I took marketing. And so I've literally been studying marketing since way before and working in my dad's office doing marketing, like I said, since I was like 5, more sales and more just whatever I can learn and do and get in the way, just because you do it 5 years old. Because it was like, Saturdays with my dad. I loved it. And so I've been...
Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Detroit, love it, love to be from there, let me put it that way. I didn't love the weather. And that's why I moved to California. And so I went to Michigan State.
Here for the weather.
We have to. It's such a great place to move to. Went to Michigan State University. I have a BA in marketing from Michigan State University. I have an MBA in marketing from Pepperdine. So once I got out here, I went and continued my career. And basically, I worked for Kraft Foods, Philip Morris, Pepsi Cola, and Marriott Hotels in sales and marketing. And then I've been running Bradshaw and Company. Like I said, I actually started it in '93, and I took it full time in 2000. So clients have been Microsoft, Honda, Coca-Cola, Chevron, Staples headquarters. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I have small business clients as well, because I don't want that to scare any small business and think she only deals with large corporate clients. I sometimes have like one person, who's looking to do branding or marketing or PR or something like that, and tons of small businesses. That's probably what I specialize in.
And those can take a lot of time. Just having one is, can take months.
It can take months.
What they want.
Yeah, because sometimes you as a business coach or consultant, and as we kind of go through the process, it depends on, and that's one of the fun things that I do is I actually do a marketing audit with them where I help them, we have a process of figuring out what's important. For example, Rafia, you've got an amazing jewelry company that you've been running for years, and there's certain things that you've already done, but certain things you may want to do and kind of update because things change, times change. You're like, oh, I haven't done a marketing plan in a zillion years. And even when I was preparing for this, I looked at some things and said, I haven't done that. I need to update my SWOT analysis and, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the opportunities and what are the threats right now, what are the trends right now, versus when I did it eight years ago, or the last time I did it. So I'm just finding that it's really interesting, and I love it.
Well, when people run a business, they get mired in all the details and they get caught up, and they don't realize that all this stuff is around. So they can do a lot better if they calm down and start focusing on something.
Well, also outsourcing it like, to someone like her. I'm gonna just move it over. Outsourcing it to someone like her rather than doing it all in house is
Well,
also
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
a much smarter way to run.
That's kind of what I was
Yeah.
getting at. Yeah, you're stuck in the groove, and then you need to talk to somebody else who's got a different perspective.
It's good. I agree with you, Greg, to not only talk to someone else who has a different perspective, but frankly, someone who knows probably more about marketing, because that's what I've specialized in. And definitely knows a lot about what it is that you want to do, and there's so many different things. I mean, this is a list of 35. Tons of different things where we talk about things like just something as simple as maybe understanding who's your target market. Who are you looking like? So, for example, you were in large stores, but you also can sell to one person.
Right.
And then understanding who do you most likely want to do business with. Because the large stores, the corporate clients are great because they can give you big orders, but if you don't have the ability to scale, to prepare and do those big orders, that can be a problem. So that's one of the things that I help people figure out is what's the best way based on their business, based on what they're trying to do. Who should they, who's an ideal target customer for them? And looking at maybe 3 different marketing groups, 3 different target market segments of who are the best ones and who's most likely to buy your product and who's most likely to spend money with you. And then frankly, even looking at your ideal client, because that's important. So I help people deal with this concept of what's your ideal client criteria? Because I was talking to a client last night, and one of the things that she was saying is she doesn't want someone that she has to fight with or argue with, or doesn't just take her, listen to her, and someone who's coachable. Someone who pays on time, someone who if I give them an idea, they're not questioning me or arguing with me or fighting back with me or telling me all the reasons why something's not going to work. So there's a lot of different reasons and types of reasons why we want to deal with certain types of clients and why it's easiest for us.
Do you get a lot of pushback?
No.
I'm a consultant too. People are set in their ways.
Yes.
And they don't see beyond that.
Yes.
It's good.
I think that's hard.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's
It
hard.
can.
I just want to take a minute to say hi to everybody. Thank you for joining, Jennifer, Vicky, Todd. Thank you for joining. And we do have one question already. If you guys don't know, please put your questions into the comments and we'll read them and we'll answer them out here, okay? So the first question we have is, are you using AI in your marketing?
Yes, I am using AI here and there. I can find that AI, it's helpful. It's such a time saver. AI is fascinating. If you guys really haven't gotten into it, just something as simple as yesterday, I'm in a new design group, like home decor and design group on Facebook, and people literally were you can put a picture of your room into ChatGPT and tell them that you want to make it more cozy or make it more this or make it more whatever, and it'll literally spit out these examples and pictures of your room that's more cozy with the furniture, with this, and then I did it yesterday just to try it out, and it was fascinating because it missed at a door, and I said, oh, you missed the door to the left of the fireplace, and it said, oh, I'm sorry, let me add the door, and then it sent me another picture that had the door, and I was like, this is awesome, and then he put a mantle on my fireplace, and I said, my fireplace doesn't have a mantle. It said, oh, I'm sorry, and it gave me a new picture with a fireplace with no mantle. That's just an example, not necessarily using it for marketing, but just saying how amazing ChatGPT and AI in general can be, and it can really be a time saver.
What are people going to do when that takes over?
Right? It's kind of scary when you think about,
It is scary.
Yeah, artificial intelligence in general, and how artificial it is, and that's one of the concerns of, the machines, are they going to be smarter than us and try to get us?
We still don't know if they're right or wrong either.
Yeah.
Just taking it as fact when it may not be as smart as we think. So
That's
I
true.
haven't really gotten into using it yet, but So I'm not as
well versed on it yet.
no, not yet. And I guess I'm still liking doing it myself, to a certain extent.
It's interesting because you can use it for marketing, you can ask it, but it's obviously not all correct. It's obviously, there's some ghost information. There's another term for it, I can't remember it offhand, but basically where it just makes up things, that are not even accurate. It's like, it is not even pulling you for any place in particular. So you really have to check it. You can't just say, hey, write a marketing plan and take it as gold. But you can definitely use it for, certain steps here and there.
Yep, exactly. So Tiffany is part of our Culver City Biz group, and this group has been doing a lot of in-person mixers once a month, and it's a wonderful group and a great group of people. But a lot of the people that we meet in the group are either small businesses or they're micro businesses. And I'm gonna take the micro businesses for a second and ask you the question, if you were to help a micro business with your branding strategies, how would you get someone from, let's say, doing little fairs and a table at a fair to actually getting orders, online or something? How would you take them from that to that?
Well, I think that's a really good question because I have this audit that I started using. So before, I always had this document that I use called 35 Steps to Marketing Success. And it's a checklist that I would use and I give to clients to help them understand where they were and kind of where they're starting from. And one of the reasons why I started using that is because what I found is that marketing, we've called it like it's a marketing pie, a marketing puzzle. Like there's so many different parts of marketing, and oftentimes unless you've studied it, you may not know. Like, sometimes I'll have people call me and they're looking for sales, but they think that PR is going to get them there. They think, they're getting written up in a magazine or media exposure is going to do it. And I'm like, no, you actually need business development or you need a sales program.
Right.
And I let them know that. I said, think about every company that has, larger companies, they have a marketing team or marketing strategy or campaign, but they have sales force. They have people doing sales. So if you don't have someone doing sales, then that's, the PR is just getting media exposure in a magazine. That's great, getting written up, but that doesn't always equate to sales.
Yeah.
So remind people that, you can, how many times do you see something in a magazine?
What is happening?
Right?
Sorry guys, we have somebody behind this.
How many times do you see something in a magazine or somewhere, even on TV, and you want it? You want to buy it, you think it's exciting. You're like, I need to get that, but you never do. For what you forget, you get busy, you put it off. I'll get it, you never buy it. So just because you get media exposure doesn't immediately equate to sales.
Sure.
So that's one thing.
But what it does do, I just want to touch on this because, in my business that's been relative for what you're saying. But I want to touch on the fact that it does get your name out there.
Yeah.
So even if it doesn't equate to sales, you have to look at it in a positive way. How many other people who did not know that you existed now know that you exist, even if they didn't purchase from you?
Yes, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Getting your name out is important. Getting your brand out is important. Getting your logo, all of these things, because they're all part of this marketing mix. You can't just have one without the other. You can't just have PR, but then you don't have a sales program, or you don't have, marketing, or you don't have social media. But you can't only do social media and then not understand who are you really trying to sell to, who's your target market, and these types of things. So it's kind of interesting. And knowing how you're positioned in the marketplace, or your brand strategy. I mean, it's a lot of different things. So to answer your question of how, it really depends on where they are and where they're trying to get to. And so I'll use this particular audit to go through, and this is actually something I'm offering for free, that people can send me an email and they can get this free audit where they can kind of go through and check off everything and just understand where they're at their business at this one point in time. and then also use that to think about what's a priority, because in most cases we don't have unlimited resources in terms of time and money and to invest in our business. So we then want to look at what do we want to focus on that's a priority to get us to our goal, because some things, like you may need a new biography, a bio, which is great, or you may need a good headshot, but that doesn't immediately put money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? So even though it's great for your LinkedIn profile, you want to, so you've got to kind of weigh like things that are still important, but it's not immediate return on investment or ROI.
Yeah, marketing takes time. It's not going to be an overnight.
It's not. It's a campaign. You have to go
exactly.
through the campaign. Yeah, of it.
And for a smaller business, it's tougher because financially they have less to work with. They have less money, and so they have to use social media. They have to use things, but they have to use them smart, is what you're saying.
But you have to start somewhere, right? So you have to pick the place to begin. Are you beginning at a place where you're going to now just concentrate on where you're going to get your sales from, and then go on to the marketing campaign or branding campaign, whatever you want to do. But it doesn't all happen together in a lot of times. So that's important to know. I've been talking to a lot of the micro businesses, especially those who do like handcrafted items, and then they sit at like a fair or a craft show or some sort of an event and they sell their stuff. But a lot of them want to move to that next level and they just don't know how to do it. So somebody like you who could help them get to that next level, maybe have like a program for them specifically that could help them.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only do I have a program for micro businesses and small businesses to get to the next level, but it's really cool. I even have a really nice promotion to commemorate the 25 years. I have a $25 special where you get a 25-minute phone consultation for $25. And then I have a 60-minute one for $60. And this is something, just as an FYI, you guys, I mentioned some of our clients, and normally I charge $200 to $500 an hour to do marketing. And so to give you an hour for $60 or 25 minutes for $25, it's great. And not only with the hour for $60, you're going to walk away with a 5-step action plan as far as what are going to be the next steps to move through in the future. So you actually have a deliverable as well. So it does help these smaller businesses, because it's one thing when people tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that, but you actually need actionable steps. Like, okay, what's next? What's next? What do I do now versus, oh, great, yeah, okay, I need social media. Well, where do I begin? You
need a business plan. Every business has to have a plan, or it's not going to go very far.
So the social media aspect of what you're talking about, do you actually do the social media for people, or do you have the staffing or anything to do that for people?
I refer the social media out,
Okay.
to be honest with you. I do my own social media, and you guys, we all know it is difficult. It's difficult. It's time consuming.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
everybody's doing it.
Yes. And you have to have a good strategy and all of that. And, I almost want you guys to consider me like the kind of the brain, the strategic business brain behind what it is that you're doing with your small business. And let me help you figure out what you want to do. And once again, even things like once we've understood your target market, how do we talk to them? How do we need to speak their language, because once, like you said, everyone's doing it. They're getting ads, they're getting, targeted from so many different areas, and you're getting your attention span, oftentimes is very little because you're getting so many different distractions. I know now that, for example, I hate it when I want to get business or information from someone, they say, go to my website or this, that, when I've asked you to send it to me. No, just send it to me. Just give me the information I'm looking for, because in the process of going to your website, I'm going to get distracted. Let's be honest. I'm going to go, check out my Facebook page, check out my Instagram. If I just open Instagram, what am I going to see? A bunch of other stuff that I've been looking at. It's going to show me, cat videos or something. I'm saying now I'm distracted, and I never went to your page, on IG. So it's just, I know
But
that
the mentality of everything right now is nobody gives you that customer service. So I think that is lacking, and it does make a big difference. But I know for me, like I also started just making my jewelry and selling it, you know, at fairs or at like people I knew, things like that. But the thing is, at some point, I had to make a decision which direction I wanted to go into, right? And so by choosing the direction, I also had to figure out how to get those customers. So my choice was to be a wholesaler, right? I wanted to do wholesale. And then I went to trade shows, wholesale trade shows, so I could market my stuff. Now I started at a time where social media wasn't like this way it is now, you know? But it's much more competitive now. So you do need somebody like Tiffany to help you get to that point, because it's not that easy. It's like, let's say you owned a brick and mortar shop on Main Street, okay? Your competition would be the people around you. You'd see your competition. They'd be across the street or down the street. Maybe you don't want to carry the same clothing or jewelry or whatever they're carrying. But on the internet, you've got millions of competition, and you got to stand out, and then the algorithms and all of that. Mm-hmm. So I personally think that whole social media thing, if you can afford to have someone do it for you, you probably should.
I agree with you that it's, if you can have a professional, not just your cousin, not just someone who, you know, because that happens oftentimes. You're like, oh, my cousin knows social media, you know, because there's certain things that you want to, you know, not only I mentioned target market audience, knowing who your target market is, but, you know, who's your ideal client criteria, doing market research to understand what are they looking for. You know, who's your, like, for example, you mentioned having competition. I'd love to give this example of a plumber. And, you know, if you think about a plumber, it's easy to say, oh, well, anybody who owns a house, you know, is my target market, but really it isn't. And if you really kind of get really laser beam focused, as opposed to what we would say shotgun, just throwing things out there and put a flyer on your car to see, you know, oh, I got plumbing, to see what fits. That's not what you do, or flyer on someone's house, but really getting focused and deciding who you want to do business with. So, for example, one plumber I worked with, we decided, why don't you focus on women homeowners, single women homeowners, because, you know, they don't really, you know, not to stereotype, but oftentimes they don't want to get dirty. They'd rather to hire someone to, you know, to do the plumbing work for them. You know, it's not a women homeowners who want to do plumbing. Let's be honest. And, you know, and then seniors was another area that I thought that seniors oftentimes, they want someone to handle it and do it and get underneath the sink and get behind the toilet and all of this and that. The seniors don't want to be crawling around and, you know, trying to do all of that, you know, underneath it. It's uncomfortable.
Who can't call.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
and so I said, this is a good market for you. And then now we decided on, okay, this single women homeowners and seniors. Now let's think about what's the language they're going to want to hear in your marketing material. So now we're not just speaking generally, but we're speaking their language and saying, you know, like identifying their concerns. So as a single woman, I want someone who's coming to the house who's safe, you know, I don't feel uncomfortable, who doesn't show their, you know, plumber's crack, their pants are pulled up, they don't smell awful. They're not making me feel like I'm not, you know, in an unsafe place. So there's certain things that I don't want to be taken advantage of. That's another thing that a lot of ladies, you take your car to the shop, or you feel like, you know, someone's going to see you as same thing with seniors. They don't want to be taken advantage of. So it's really important to understand who you want to work with. And then you can speak their language and target your marketing, your social media, all of these things to that particular audience.
So I'm glad you brought up a plumber, because to me,
because
I feel like that particular profession is a referral base, mostly, right? Because if I have a good plumber and someone else is looking for, I'm really happy to share that information with somebody, right? So how important is getting good reviews as part of your marketing strategy?
Oh my God, it's so important. So good reviews are important. You know, if you're a restaurant, you know, certain businesses that use Yelp and different things like that. So when people got their different thoughts on yoga, But I'm just saying that there's a lot of ways and places we review, because even on Google, I've gotten places that send me, hey, send me a review on Google. So it's great. I recommend for clients, you can get your own reviews. You can get your own testimonials, you know what I'm saying? So you can have, like, for example, I started a YouTube channel for VIP wine tastings, and literally it's at VIP wine tastings on YouTube. And the great thing about it is that I now, when I do something with a client, I just ask them, hey, can we do a short little 15-second video, 30-second video? And so I've got all of these videos where you're getting that third-person testimonial. So it's great to see something in writing, but it's a really cool channel where, people are having a good time after a wine tasting, for example, and now I've got the video. I've got the client saying, oh my God, or, I did one for Westmont Senior Living, and, the woman was saying, oh, it was Valentine's Day, it was so beautiful, and Tiffany worked with the chef, and she paired the wines, we did a 6-course meal.
My mom lived there.
Yeah, so you understand, it just can be a really good experience where you can use your own, and get your own referrals, but also it's really important to ask for referrals. Oftentimes we don't ask and say, like, hey, you hear a lot with maybe real estate people. They do well with saying, my business is based on referrals, please, your referral is really great. But I really think, I'm so glad you brought up referrals. I think awesome.
It's really important, and we go out to eat a lot, and and I read those reviews. I read them because I think that's how I can tell whether a restaurant or the food is going to be good,
And you know what to order.
And
so someone gives a picture, oh, it's delicious.
I'm very picky, but anyway, but it just, people always let me choose because I do my homework and kind of review the place first, make sure I read all of that stuff. But it's very important to also give good customer service, regardless, like you're doing your wine, this business, I'm doing my jewelry, you're doing restaurant. On all of our businesses, we need to do good customer service so that we get that.
Yes.
And I think that
And
is so lacking.
Not a lot of
these
it
days.
right now, but since COVID, we lost a lot of that.
I agree. And so good customer service is important. It's listed on my one of my lists here in terms of, getting not only the customer testimonials, which is number 20, and endorsements, but also evaluating your customer service program. And asking customers, like I literally did for Belmont Village, I did a wine tasting just recently, last week, and I asked the client, can you tell me, and I love to do this, and I recommend this for so many businesses, after an event or even after a sales call, ask them and write down yourself, what did you like best, and what do you want to do differently next time? And I got that from like a business book years ago, but I love it because I'll write down, no, I like best, this is this. Next time I want to do this. Next time I need to remember to do this. Next time, and even asking the client or asking, those customers, because you need that feedback, because you want to know why they didn't, if they're not going to bring you back, or, there was a problem, or maybe even just a misunderstanding. You want to get that straight. So like best next time is a very good, and it keeps it positive. It's not, you screwed up with this, but it just says, okay, next time I want to spend more, what have you.
So, since you've worked with large corporations as well as smaller businesses, how important is it to keep your logo consistent? Because so many times people change their logos and it upsets me for some reason. And I like to see the same, brand that I've been seeing. So what's your take on that?
Well, it's really interesting you say that, because a lot of these big corporations have changed. Like I work for Pepsi-Cola. Yeah, see, you got this Coke right here. It's all right.
Apparently you didn't do a very good job.
Clearly not. Yeah. But I work for Pepsi, and if you look at Pepsi over the years, they've changed that logo probably 10 times.
They just changed it again.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they're a big company, and think about it, they just keep continuously changing. So, you do find that there's reasons why companies are updating, and they're changing, and they're doing these things, but they still try to keep a lot of consistency with the look. I've even changed my logo. It's actually interesting, this logo on this paper and on the book that I wrote. Oh my God, I wrote this book in 2011, and I'll tell you guys all about this in a minute. But this is my old logo, and when I was creating this, I used the old logo last night, but I have a new logo that looks pretty much just like it, but it's just a little different. So I'm a Leo, so I've got my lions. I'm a Porsche owner and lover, so this is very similar to the Porsche symbol in the middle. And then I've got our family home in Michigan where I grew up, and then I've got palm trees and a little beach, like for my move, showing my move to LA, because Bradshaw always had a crest, a family coat of arms, etc. But I didn't feel that it was for me. You know what I'm saying? It was this English family, in England, but I didn't feel it was for me. But I did take the star. There's a star that was the original family, Bradshaw family logo, and I kept it. So I did keep the star, which now it represents the sun in the sky for me in sunny California.
Very nice. Tell us about the book.
So the book is really cool. So, all right, you guys, whenever you're a speaker, because I know there's people who do speak, or you get invited to speak somewhere, they have this concept of the back of the room, which you're selling something after you speak. And so I was working with Staples headquarters, and I was going to different Staples stores, and I was doing marketing seminars. They were paying me to do marketing seminars in the various Staples stores for small businesses. And so this was a project that was happening, and I didn't have anything to sell. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have a book, I have anything. And so this book, this book came about so fast because I needed something to sell very quickly, and I asked them if I'd write a book, can I sell it after I speak? And they were like, sure. And so this is 10 branding strategies, and it's called Personal Improvement for Professional Success, which is what I coach on. And it really just kind of goes into detail. I just have these left over from back in the day. They're $20, but it's such good information. $20 for 10 chapters. I jokingly say it's $2 a chapter. But it covers branding. It covers how to write a bio, the 16 things your bio needs, how to create a competitive advantage, your 30-second networking statement, which is one of the things that you covered at the last CC Biz, at Fairfield and Tino Interiors in Culver City. Getting creative with, your website and just so many different things, your mission and vision, using storytelling to make sales. So this is a really cool book. They're $20. It's so inexpensive where I've gotten all of this information kind of condensed down. So if you feel like, hey, I need something, and the great thing is it's a big book, so it's a workbook. So you literally could just open it up and, and read and work, your project. So I love that it really is a workbook as well, with giving you the information that you're looking for.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So we didn't give them, so the name of her company is Bradshaw and Company. And do you have a website that you want to tell them?
Yeah, so you can so I'm making some changes. So last night when I realized that I wanted to update this document, I'm making some changes to the website, but literally Tiffany at Bradshaw and Company and BradshawandCo.com is the best way to find me. Tiffany, Tiffany at Bradshaw and Co. Because Tiffany and Co. was taken, so I'm Bradshaw and Co. But that's literally where kind of the name came from. But yeah,
and is and spelled out.
Outside, and is spelled out because in a website it has to be spelled out. But it is used, it's ampersand when it's in writing on the logo. But it is and spelled out. So BradshawandCo.com. BradshawandCo.com. But I'm doing some updates right now. But we'll have something up, this new audit should be up by the end of the weekend, but you're also just welcome to shoot me an email and I can send it. So Tiffany at Bradshaw and Co. Or you can just Tiffany Bradshaw Gmail.
I actually, on the Culver City Biz group, I've actually put it into the comments. And then Tiffany can go in there and also put her email address as well.
Good.
And if you guys are watching this on the rerun at any time, you can still ask questions and one of us will answer. Mostly Tiffany will answer. Our guests go back and review the the live video, and then they can answer all the questions that you might have. If you have more questions, please put them into the comments, and I will read them. And I can't read all of them, but that's okay. We'll go back and answer them. And for our Culver City Biz group, I do want to point out that our next event is going to be on June 4th, and it is at the Rotunda Room at Betts Park, which is at 4117 Overland Avenue in Culver City, on the corner of Culver and Overland. And what we're going to do that day is we're going to actually have like a business fair. I call it a business fair bazaar. So any of our businesses that are in the Culver City group, the Culver City Biz group, they are welcome to join to get a table and show either their products or their services and talk about it with the audience that will come through. So we usually get a good amount of people that come through those, and they're fun because you get to see like multiple businesses under one roof, and it's kind of exciting. We had one in December. We do it in December and in June. The last one was in December at Westmont, and we had so many people, and I know you had a table too, and I had a table. And it was really fun because, you know, at that time people are shopping a lot for holidays. So, but hey, you know, it's our group is all about connecting businesses to consumers. So that's why we do these, so that everybody has the opportunity to find an audience to market their business to. What else?
Well, there's business to consumer, and there's also business to business, because, you know, that's kind of my side of this.
For this business.
For this business, and then on the wine business, it's business to consumer. That's my custom label. But yeah, you know, it's just going back to thinking about how you want to do business. It's really important to make sure that you understand, like we said, who you're marketing to and why, and really speaking to them in a manner that they're going to listen, they're going to remember, they're going to want to hopefully do business with you. I know you mentioned, you know, doing, like at CC Biz, we do a 30-second pitch, you know.
A minute, yeah.
Yeah.
60 seconds, but yeah.
She's
generous.
I was just going to say, she's super generous and gives like extra time, because any of you guys who go to those, you know, oftentimes we go to like the different, you know, like the chambers, you know, you gotta be quick, you know.
Well, we used to, you know, when we first started doing them, they used to take, like, people used to be up there for 5 minutes and stuff, and then they started taking questions, and I'm like, this is not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have a person in our group, her name is Melissa, and she, well, no, Melissa has taught us a little bit about elevator pitch and telling your story, so she's a storyteller. And so she has kind of taken a few people up there and given them some ideas on how they can fine-tune their elevator pitch. So we call it an elevator pitch. We give you 60 seconds. We have Mariam standing over there with her phone, you know, timing you, and it's been working great. And what I love about how it's been working is the progress I've seen. So I've seen some of the same people go up there since they first came to now, and they're fine-tuned their elevator pitch, and now they're not going on and on and on, and so it's really nice. You know, it's good that they took it to heart and figured out how to get it out there in 60 seconds.
There you go.
It's important to make sure you're making your key points and you do understand who you're talking to and why. And just, you know, even today, you know, to be frank with you, you know, I made some notes that just to make sure I've got bullet points down. And this is also important not only in these elevator pitches that we talked about, and, you know, just to refresh some of the newer people, you know, we called it that because back in the day we figured that was the amount of time you had in an elevator to, if you meet someone, to be able to pitch them.
Right.
Yeah, you okay, before they got to get off, you got a couple of minutes and you need to get your key points out right away.
Yeah.
Similarly, one of the things that I talk about with our businesses and coach them on is how to have, we need to have pitches when you're doing, I do cold calling. You know, and when I cold call, you know, it's important, like you mentioned you're doing wholesale clients, I'm sure you had to do some cold calling, you know, to reach out. Oh, so you were lucky.
I went to trade shows and they...
And you met, okay.
Yeah.
And you did mention you you went to trade shows, but I assumed that there might be some that never showed up or just weren't, because we also sometimes have what I call your ideal client list or ideal clients that you want, like your wish list, like, oh my God, if I could do business with, Oprah or whatever, if I could get on.
Well, when I first started, I went to stores and I pulled their business cards of the buyers and then I called to make an appointment.
So you called.
Yeah, but like
But
I
buyers
didn't
are
have to
expecting.
I don't know. I just made an appointment. Can I show you my jewelry? It wasn't so much of a pitch, but
Yes.
but it's very interesting because back in the day, people knocked on your door.
Yes, soliciting. Remember the time? No soliciting.
You risk your life.
Yeah, you might get shot. Unfortunately, that's happened in a few states. Someone even turning around in someone's driveway, they got shot at recently. A DoorDash person. But that's a whole nother, in some state, they were way across and they were turning around, leaving, and the person came out and was shooting at them. Insanity. But going back to the pitching, you're right. In your type of business, and it always varies, because in your business, you had buyers who are expecting someone to call on them to present their wares.
Right.
In other businesses, unfortunately, we don't have buyers in the same instant, so we are reaching out to them, cold calling, and so it's important for the people who do have to cold call, like me, that you have your pitch together. So, for example, I recommend writing down, you got to get past the gatekeeper oftentimes, and so what are you saying to that gatekeeper? They're like, well, who are you and what do you want and why do you want to, who do you want to talk to? So understand who you're asking for, maybe the certain type of, there's a title, I'm looking for the director of sales or whatever. So you're asking for a certain title, and then what are you saying, like when they say who you are, let me see if they're available, may I ask who's calling, and what is this concerning? Make sure you've got that together. And then also when the director of sales picks up the phone, you need another pitch for them. Hi, I'm Tiffany Bradshaw with this, I'm doing this, and really going into the detail, but not too much, because you don't want to just, once again, got to be quick, got to make your key points, and then give them a minute to respond.
Right, exactly. Well, we've given them a lot of information.
Yeah. I'm fired up.
And if you guys want to make an appointment with Tiffany, you can reach her at tiffany@bradshawandco.com.
Yes, or you can even call my business line, 424-234-8483, 424-234-8483, or even text.
And she'll put all of that information into this thing. And if you are interested in exhibiting at our event on June 4th, which is a Wednesday, and it's going to be from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And if you are interested, I'm selling out pretty quickly, so get in touch with me. You can contact me here, and then I'll be happy to get you a contract to do that.
Can you
Really
email?
good deal.
Maybe.
Yeah, you can contact me at culvercitybiz@gmail.com, and I'm happy to see if I can squeeze you in, because I'm filling up fast, so please contact me quickly, okay? And I think we're pretty good, right?
Very good.
All right, thank you, Tiffany, for coming on
thanks a
today.
lot.
Thank you for sharing your 25-year anniversary with us.
Yes, and my $25 specials, and I've got some other specials, so
$60
feel free,
special.
$60 special.
Take advantage while you can.
I've got a $1,000 special, a $2,500 special. I just kind of scaled them, just depending on what people need. So I can definitely personalize, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys and helping you out with your businesses.
All right. Well,
Absolutely,
thank you so much for being here today.
And I actually just had 25 years in November as well in my business, so.
That's amazing.
I know, it goes by fast.
It's incredible if you really think about it. I mean, 25 years is...
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thanks,
We
guys.
appreciate you, and we'll see you next week with another guest.
Have a good weekend.